I definitely think you did say Bobby, to be honest with you. So.
I did.
But it was all good. I wasn't tripping. I was like, okay. Yeah, I'll be Bobby today.
I didn't
and
know.
Tomorrow if I need to be.
I didn't know. I didn't know why they called you Maine. I'm like,
Just a little government thing, we got going. Oh, man. All right, let's get ready. Ready, set. All right, mic check. Mortal Masters Podcast, your host, Maine, of course. I got a special guest across from me, Miss Luckie, not Charms. All right, here we go. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I can't complain. Long day, but
right.
I'm excited to do the episode. So just a real quick. Now I met you through Mo, and she does podcasts as well. Shout out to Mo. But
hey,
then
Mom.
I started to follow you. Just seeing what you do, and you teach, and you are very influential with your students and hands on. Like
I try to be.
And I like that. When you think about teaching and just teachers. At least from when I came up, you kind of differentiate, like you kind of set them apart from how involved they were.
Mm-hmm.
You got teachers that just came and just went home. That's just whatever. And then you got teachers that like did other extracurricular activities, like they wrote plays, they did dance things, they cared. That extra just like get cared. And I like seeing that. So I was like, I gotta have on at some point.
Oh, thank you.
And then I came to your class and you had me talk to the kids. And that was a big thing to me. Like, I like that.
You gotta come back.
I'm gonna come back. I'm definitely come back.
Okay.
I love to do like stuff like that. And then even that day, I remember. I don't think you felt like bad per se, but I think it didn't go how it's supposed to go because you had like a testing thing that day.
Yeah. So those weren't the kids that you would have gotten.
Right.
And I know the kids that you would have gotten were looking forward to meeting you. Because I had some kids that were into like YouTubing and social media influencers. So they were really looking forward to it. So they just kind of threw a monkey wrench in the whole day. So I didn't feel bad because there was one kid that you actually connected to. Right. So that was a good thing. Yeah.
But to me, all I did was I just deviated from what I wanted to talk about. Luckily, like I said, I went to that school, so I kind of, like I feel like I got a lot in common with those kind of kids, like just from the background we from and what it mean when you say you go to Josie to most people that don't go to Josie, you know? And then I just in the classroom, like I like that it was people that wasn't talking. Then at about 5, 7, they start talking. They talking too much now. Now who's popular, who not popular. Like it just I like to kind of shake things up in a room, and that was like I'd rather that than a real speech. I just felt like that was like more like okay, you doing this, you doing that. So I like that. But before we get into like that kind of stuff, I want to like kind of learn more about you. So, let's start with first let's start with this. You said they always call you Luckie. So why is that? Is it your last name? Are you a lucky person? Like
No.
So you're not a good luck charm.
So what happened was I had a social studies teacher, Coach Carpenter, and he always called students by their last name. And my last name is Luckie. So when he started calling me Luckie, the entire school started calling me Luckie, like, that's your name. It's Luckie. And at the age of 13, I actually got Luckie tatted on my chest, 13 years old.
Yeah, let's stop right there. Hold up. I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, I did.
Let's really get into your life. All right. I don't want to back. No. Yeah, let's start there.
Okay.
So, was it a bet? Like somebody bet you? Or
No. So my cousin was in the streets and he had some kind of arrangement with Eddie Peace Tattoo. I think everybody in Augusta got an Eddie Peace Tattoo. If you born and raised in Augusta, you got an Eddie Peace Tattoo. So that was my first tattoo. And I wanted a 4-leaf clover, but I didn't spell Luckie how my last name is spelled. I spell it the traditional way, Lucky. Looking back in retrospect, I wish I would have put Luckie because that would have just differentiated me from anybody else. Like that's Luckie, like that's my name.
Well, I mean, so I said at 13 you didn't get in trouble, like nobody.
Well, I hid it until my orientation at Payne College. So I hid it from my entire family. I think I broke the news to my grandmother because my grandma raised me. So I broke the news to my grandma at McDonald's. We were on our way to Payne College for my freshman orientation. And I was like, Ma, I got a tattoo. And I showed it to her. She was like, that ain't real. That's one of them little, how you used to put the water on and peel it off. And I was like, no, it's real. And I said, I've had it for 5 years. So it was hell trying to hide it, but I did.
Oh my God.
I did.
All right. Well, well, we can get into it because that's another question. I got one more question about that, but I do want to ask you this. So let's talk about your upbringing first. I want to get like just your story. So like, well, I know you said born and raised, but like, so you from here. Talk about like your childhood, like just being younger. Like, was you raised by your mom, your dad? Let's say your grandma. So like, tell me about that dynamic. You got sisters, siblings?
Yeah. So I'm the oldest of three. I have a brother and I have a sister. And the story that I've always been told was from my grandmother. I brought you home from the hospital. And so I've lived with my grandmother since the day I came home from the hospital. I was born in 1978. I think my mom was 17 going on 18 when she had me. So my grandmother felt like, you're too young to raise a child. So I lived with her. And my upbringing was, to me, it was normal because that's all I knew. I was in a private school from kindergarten to 8th grade. So going to public school in high school is just like, where am I? Like, what is going on? My father didn't raise me. My mother didn't raise me. Unfortunately, they were both victims of substance abuse. So I was left with my grandmother. And I remember my mom vividly. I think she got on a Greyhound bus at the age of, when I was like maybe 3 or 4 years old, and she left and went to New York. And she came back when I was in the 8th grade.
So I know you said you remember. Did you ever see your father like at all? Like around
Yeah. I definitely knew who my father was. But he was what do you call those people that steal a klepto?
They steal?
Yeah. Is that a kleptomaniac?
That's the word for it. It's a lot of words for who that steal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's what he was. So
like, what kind of stealing? Like, was it stealing like from family or?
No, like he was a hustler. Like, so he would go into, this was before like they had video cameras and stuff in JB White's, before JB White's was Dillard's. When we had Regency Mall, he would literally go into a mall and pick up a rack of clothes and walk out with it. Because they didn't have gator tags and stuff on it. So my mom was like, your dad always got arrested right before your birthday because he would go in there and try to steal stuff to get money for you. And I'm like, what?
I didn't ask for that.
Correct. Like, what are you doing, sir? I remember when I got old, I think I was like 18. And I was living by myself. And my dad I told my dad I wanted him to move in with me. And I came home one day and it was a bed full of Tommy Hilfiger stuff. Like, where did this Tommy Hilfiger stuff come from? Of course, he had went into Macy's and just robbed them, just like racked up. But that's what he did. That's what kept him in jail and away from me. But I always knew who my father was. And I have a relationship with him. I had a relationship with him and his family. So I knew both sides of my family.
But you was always fly too. Like, did that bother you? Like, did it bother you? Like, did you not want to wear the clothes? You're like, Dad, I don't like what you did to get the clothes, or you wore the clothes?
No, I don't think that I knew until I actually got older. Like, when I was able to realize what he was doing. I didn't know at a young age what he was doing to get money. Like, I didn't understand what he was doing until he actually started living with me, and I saw racks on racks of clothes in my house with tags and the little gator tags and stuff still attached. So I'm like, what? So, of course, I had a boyfriend at the time. You know, Tommy Hilfiger was popping back in the 90s. I'm like, let me get one of those for my, my little whoop-de-whoop. So, I would come to school. I had him a little bag. He was like, where you get this from? He was fresh to death. You couldn't tell him nothing. But, that's when I kind of realized what my dad was doing.
Okay, that's dope. That's funny, man. And then with your mom, like, did that put a strain in your relationship? The fact that...
It did.
But would you say the strain came from her leaving or you seeing her leave? Does that even matter? Because that's a vivid picture you would have, I guess, of your mom actually leaving. It
came from seeing her leave because I know sometimes our memory goes back so far. Like, most kids don't remember things at the age of 3. Like their memory kind of kicks in at 5 or kindergarten or 6. But I vividly remember me screaming for my mom as she got on the Greyhound bus. So that's a memory that I have. And it made me feel like my mom doesn't want me because why would she leave me?
Right.
And then years later, of course, she had my brother. So that weighed on me, like, well, why is my brother able to live with my mom and I'm not? Why am I stuck here with my grandmother? So in my mind, I'm like, they out living their life. They done moved from New York to California, and I'm here in Augusta, Georgia with my grandma. And I'm like, she doesn't want me. So that's how it left me feeling. So it did cause a strain. It took a long time for that healing process to get to where we are now as mother-daughter relationship.
What about your brother? Did that make you have any kind of resentment for him?
I hated my brother.
I asked that question because I know they probably like, damn, man, I always say this, but I got cousins, and the three of them, they all, their mom and dad was on drugs as well. Mm-hmm. But then my uncle, he got life together like around 02, 03, and kind of got the youngest son. Mm-hmm. Mind you, so it's a sister, older sister, and two younger sons.
Right.
The sister, the two older, my grandmother, she down here, she took them to live down here. Right. Beautiful life, nice house, all this stuff, right? The younger brother got a different mom. He stayed in the project. So Jay-Z from Mars, they from that like it's like the bottom of the bottom, the worst. Everything stinks over there. And that's what he was living in. Like even as 10, 11, I mean, it was just bad. He would come over here and eat a house, like eat everything in the house because he didn't eat where he was at.
Right.
And I'm like, I always felt like, yo, why y'all hate him for? Like he got a bad life. Like that's the one you need to fight for if you're gonna fight for. Like y'all good, technically speaking. But I also never put my feet in their shoes. Like but they're assuming he's living life. Like I want to be with my dad. Like they having a good dad. No. Your dad don't have nothing either. He he's better off than what he was at. And so for you, like, what made you hate your brother?
To be honest, when my mom first brought my brother home, I loved him because I was like, oh, I have a little brother. It's a baby. But then as he began to grow and they stayed away, I began to resent the relationship that he had because I didn't get a chance to live with my mom and to go through kindergarten and those, milestones with my mom that he did. So I resented him for that. I remember my grandmother it was a split level house, and my brother did something and I pushed him down the steps.
Oh my God, come on, man.
I pushed him down the steps, and I think my mom really beat the brakes off of me that day. Cause she knew I pushed him down the steps. Nothing got broke or nothing. He ain't break nothing. He was okay. But that I remember that vividly because I remember how much hatred I had towards him because I'm like, you get to live with my mom and I don't. And I was first, so. Yeah. But now I love the hell out of my brother. Like we have a really good relationship. Like that's my baby.
I don't want this to get caught, I don't want this to get missed in what we talking about, but I do want to kind of spend more time with the grandma because that is the one who raised you, right?
Yes, I call her mama.
And so I used to envy people who got raised by their grandma though. Like
really?
Yes, only because grandmas are like the most amazing people in the world. Let's just start there. Like
absolutely.
For me, they the most. I always had grandma though. I never had grandma as mother. So for people like you, that yes, it's your grandma, but that's mom also. I never had to make a distinction between which one I'm getting today. I always got grandma. Mom was always there. I always got grandma.
Right.
But I got my cousins who that's like mom. So they like, nah, she nice to you. She ain't nice to me. I'm like, nah, she kind of nice to everybody. But I don't see the mom side because I'm down for the summer. I go home, she probably like cursing them out. I don't know. Right. So, but I envy them too because I felt like a lot of people I knew that was raised by their grandma, whether it was my friends or my family. Sometimes they got away with stuff. Not like grandma was weak. I ain't saying that, but it's like you got a tattoo and you just was able to just live like nothing was going on. But my mom is she was young. Yeah, we was like friends, not friends for real, but we close in age, 20 years apart. She was hip to everything. So I really couldn't do nothing without her saying you doing this, you doing that. Cause she already know about all this stuff, Right. So I'm like, damn, y'all got it good. You could just lie and say, grandma, this is this. I'm watching this. This is what this means.
And
The Wire is a church show.
And did.
See there?
I did.
I envy that.
I was able to pull the wool over my grandmother's eyes a lot of times. And I think that because I'm the first grandchild, the first great grandchild, I'm the first. So I got away with a lot of stuff that some of my younger cousins probably couldn't get away with. for the longest, because me and my uncle are 9 years apart. My mom's youngest brother. So I grew up thinking, probably until maybe about the age of 8, that was my actual brother. Like, I had no idea because he called my grandma mama. I called my grandma mama. We went to church together. You know, we're not too far in age. My mom wasn't living in the house. So when we went to church, I'm like, that's my brother. And they're like, that's not your brother. You know, it was a grown person that actually told me, like, that's not your brother. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, it is. That is my brother. But the whole time it was my uncle. So to your point, I definitely got away with murder with my grandma.
And so, like, describe that dynamic, though. Like, did you have to ever feel like that was mom versus grandma? Or you felt like you got grandma for the most part?
No. I never, I knew that my grandma was my mama. Like, period. That was my mama. Like, I never called her grandma a day in my life.
Wow.
That's my mama. So when she passed, I felt like my mom had died. Like, I never lived with anybody other than my grandma. And she took care of me until the day she passed. So there was never a competition. Of course, I would do things to get my mom's love or I wanted her to show me that she loved me. So when she would come home to visit, I would throw fits like, oh, you didn't buy me this. Or, you know, I would catch an attitude because she didn't buy me the bangles that I wanted or the teddy bear that I wanted. So I would have a whole attitude and I would fall out in the middle of the floor and just throw a little temper tantrum or whatever because I know that if she didn't get it, my grandma would. So
see, and that's another thing. See there, and I don't get me wrong. It's no winner in this. It's no like good side to it. But when I see people who like was raised by their grandma, whether it be grandma stepped in, mama stepped away, whatever, then you got that dynamic of like oversaturating for what a child may feel. So now, like, you kind of get your way. You know, it's like because somebody made a mistake or just couldn't get their life together, whatever. You get your way now because I'm gonna get mad at you. That's gonna have an effect on this person here who wants to make sure I'm straight. So thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But now you get what you want.
I do. I got a ventriloquist doll for Christmas one year. I didn't practice ventriloquism or anything, and she bought me this $200 ventriloquist doll. I probably played with it for 2 days. I got what I wanted.
You just wanted it.
I just wanted it because
that was a thing in the 90s. It was like a 90s thing or something like that. Was it Goosebumps?
I don't remember the guy's name. It was a black dude, and it was Lester, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But he had a ventriloquist doll, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to learn how to do that. And I think I practiced it for like 2 days trying to talk without moving my mouth, and I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Can you do it now?
No.
I'm just joking.
Look, I tried to say no without moving my mouth, and it wouldn't work. So no, I don't know how to do that.
Well, okay. So to describe you, you, as a kid coming up, whether it's elementary, middle school, like what kind of student were you? What kind of kid were you? Like what kind of?
I was bad.
Why can I see that? I don't know why I can.
I was bad. Like I was so.
I feel like you're proud of it too, a little bit. I don't know. You saying it like you just with a lot of pride in there. Like the bad is like give me L Cool J.
And that's a bad thing to feel prideful about from the wrong shit you did. Like, but I was bad. I was horrible. I got suspended from private school in the 2nd grade. I remember that.
What you did?
I wrote a nasty note to this boy named Dondiel Johnson.
Y'all friends on Facebook now?
No. I taught his son though.
Oh my God. You can't be teaching that. You can't be teaching the kids. It gotta be a law. It gotta be a law somewhere where you can't be doing it.
I was in the 2nd grade. I didn't know any better. I was watching HBO and Cinemax, sneaking with my uncle that was 9 years older than me. So
yeah, see, girl.
I know. And Shamia Williams, I love you, girl. But Shamia, I had put the note behind me, and it didn't get on Dondiel's desk. Shamia picked it up and took it to the teacher. And the teacher read it, and I guess she was like, what the hell?
When you say a nasty note, you mean a nasty note?
Nasty.
Oh, that kind okay.
In the 2nd grade, nasty.
Okay, that like Cinemax HBO real
nasty.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, this is Okay, Lucky.
at private school now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So when she
Okay.
got the note, Miss Hathaway, I'll never forget that teacher. She got the note, took me to the office. My grandma beat the brakes off of me. I was crying so hard for my uncle. Like, she told me every which way but loose.
You said your name is Hathaway?
Miss Hathaway.
Yeah, you know she didn't play a name like that.
Kim
they don't play.
Hathaway. Kim Hathaway. I would never forget
Trying
her
to tell her
name.
how look. She trying to.
I'll never forget Miss Hathaway.
Oh God.
I got towed up, and my principal name was Mr. Shoemaker. And back then, we could get paddled in school. So if you were disruptive, if you were disobedient, you had discipline issues, they would get a wooden paddle and beat you in the office with it.
Like hell. Yeah, I'm glad I grew up when I grew up. I don't play those kind of games. But so I want to say that because you mentioned a few things. I know before we started talking, I told you how like some people's story is history.
Yeah.
So a few things you didn't say. You didn't say that Dillard's was something else before. I don't know what it was, but JB
JB
White.
White?
Never heard of it. Don't know who the guy is.
Yeah.
But I know who Dillard is. So is it the same company? Or just a different store in that place in the mall? I don't know like what you mean when you say that.
I don't know if it's the same company and they end up changing their name, but JB White's turned into Dillard's.
Okay. I never heard of that. And then, so you was around when Kmart was like a real thing.
Yeah.
I always knew it to be a
Yeah,
bootleg.
Kmart had like a little diner. You can go in and get you something to eat, sit down. That was a place to shop. Kmart.
I mean, I've been there before, but when I like my upbringing, that was always like a bootleg version of another mart.
Oh.
So I never knew it to be like
Yeah,
this
it was
grand
Kmart
thing.
before it was Walmart. Like,
I never knew that. See, this
yes.
is, all right,
Yeah.
writing this
Southgate,
down.
Kmart. Now it's a U-Haul place, but
Yeah, all them trucks.
mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to think, but then you also just like you were saying that back in the day they couldn't. I'm saying back in the day like you just super, but back in the day, this is what you said now. This is what you said. I'm just throwing out what you said. I ain't say nothing.
It is back in the day.
You said they can paddle you.
They did.
I don't know when they made that a law that they can't, but I know it had to be somewhere in the 90s. Like we didn't play that in the 90s. I don't know that.
Yeah, so
when
this
that
was in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in private school in the 80s. I left private school in 92, and that's when I went to Josie.
Okay.
Very sad. Like, I was like, this is lean on
Relax.
me.
Relax.
What? I had never had a black teacher before in my life. I didn't know it was so many black people at one school. Like, I literally had 3 black kids in my class, and I was like, wait a minute.
That's funny. Oh my God. Fair East Side is crazy. Oh my God. But so talk to me about. So you said that you went to private school.
Yeah.
Mostly like what was the reason behind that? Like why she put you in private school versus public school? I mean, you was already bad, so I'm trying to figure out what you.
See, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I don't know when I turned bad. Like,
Second grade. I can tell you right now.
No. I was in private school from kindergarten to 8th grade. So I don't know if I gave them glimpses of this finna be a badass little girl. Let's go ahead and.
Was your mom a bad child?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, it was your mom.
Oh,
So
that's what it was.
Day you was
So it's
born,
like,
you was bad.
Let's prevent the same thing from
There we go.
happening. Let's go ahead and pay this money every month.
There we go.
And send her to private school.
It could have, because I don't know your grandma and how she felt about your mom's upbringing. Because sometimes people, like parents have a remorse sometimes, or they feel like they work too much, or especially back in that day, you had to work and do your own thing. So I don't know how she felt about why maybe your mom made certain decisions. Maybe she tried to, as grandparents, they try to correct their parenting through grandparenting.
Yes.
So maybe that's why. Maybe she felt like I'm gonna have
Yeah,
this one do
and I
this.
can see that because I think that's what my mom does now with my kids and my brother kids. Like, she knew that she had missed a certain part of our lives. So I think that she tries to make up for that with our children. So I can see that my grandma probably was like, maybe I wasn't there for her mom as much as I could have been because I was working 2 jobs, but I'm going to make sure that I give her the better parts of me or give her a better opportunity.
Right.
So I think that's probably why they put me in private school.
So one thing I say is when it comes to the grandparent thing, my mom, she would say that about her mom. She's the youngest of 7, and she would say that my grandmother wasn't really affectionate. Like she worked and she made sure you had necessities. You had some clothes, you can food and water, bread or whatever. Make her a joke, whatever. But like she cooked, but she went to work. That was her thing. She went to work, but she made sure you had what you had. As opposed to with grandma, I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she got crazy affectionate. No, but she didn't like turn our affection down. So she'll say she loved us. I like to rub a lot, so she let me rub on her arm and stuff. Like she gave me a hug, just doing things with us. Like doing things. And she said that's something she never seen. But a lot of times I think too, as grandparents, they try to correct what they wish they could have did with their kids, with their kids.
Right.
And so I did see a lot of that, coming up. And I think that's the only way you could feel like okay with, your life a little bit. Like,
Yeah, my grandmother wasn't affectionate. Like she wasn't the grandma that's going to say, I love you, Shani. She'll go buy me something. So maybe her love language could have been, gifts. While mine was act of service or whatever. So I think people's love language changes. And I think maybe she felt like she had to fill a void, by giving me things because she wasn't that type of person that will verbalize, I love you.
Yeah.
So because of that, I tell my kids I love them all the time because I didn't get that growing up. I know she loved me, but she never verbalized it. So I make sure that, now with my kids, I always tell them I love you, before I get off the phone with my oldest daughter or before my youngest daughter go to school every day. Like, it's just something I want to do because I don't want to ever make them feel like my mom never told me she loved me.
Yeah.
Even though I know my grandma loved the hell out of me, she just never really said it often. And it had to be like, if I was sick, I love you, baby, but it never like, okay, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I love you, that kind of thing.
But you just don't know the effect it have on somebody. Just hear it. You can show it, but hear it.
Right.
Even in relationships, people say that. You can show it all the time. You're like, I'm here for you. I'm doing this. Like anything you need. But anyway, that one thing you do. But I want you to just say. I want you to grab my arm. I want you to hug me from behind when we in Walmart or something. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just like very specific, right? I don't know why, but still, it just one of them things. Where, I'm like, hey, I'm doing 20 things. But that one thing is like it probably changed the way somebody think or what they feel unknowingly. Not that they trying to get you to do one thing or the other. But so I do see that. But all right. So you go to Josie. Like what made what was the thing that you did? I'm assuming you did something that made them say, "Are we gonna put you in public school?"
No, they didn't want to put me in public school.
So you fought for Josie?
Well, no, I actually fought for Glen Hills.
Oh my God!
I know, right?
I need a boo button on this thing.
I'll boo for you. So, I was going to church, so I was in the church choir, usher board, all that kind of stuff, and I was smitten on this young man, and he went to Glen Hills. So the option.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Can you define that for me? Smitten, and that's like a 90s term. I'm assuming. I don't know. I never heard it before.
Okay. So I had a crush on him. I thought had puppy love. Like, I really liked him. I wanted him to be my boyfriend. And I think I was like in the 8th grade. And he was in the 9th grade. But we went to church together, and we were in the choir together, and we went to Sunday school together. So like our church had a large youth population at the time, and so when it came time for me to go to high school, it was either you're going to Aquinas, and I was like, I don't want to go to another private school. Like, I really wanted to be around people that looked like me or, just had the same experiences growing up as I did. So I begged to go to Glen Hills. And, back then, you couldn't choose the school you wanted to go to. It was based off of your address.
Right.
So now you can go, like, if I want to go to Cross Creek, I can, as long as I have a ride there. So I was like, Mama, can I please go to Glen Hills? But she knew I had this little guy I was talking to. She was like, hell no, you ain't going to Glen Hills. You can go to Aquinas. And I was like, I'm not going to Aquinas. So I was zoned for Josie. And that's how I ended up there.
Okay, well, shout out to Josie, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, class 96.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so, you start 92. You go to Fair East Side High, all right?
That's exactly what it felt like. I was talking about they was fighting in the hallway.
Talk about the culture shock, if you will, for yourself. Even though they like you, you know what I'm saying. But from what you used to, what you came from, and then what you went into.
Yeah. So it was definitely a culture shock for me. Luckily, I knew some of the girls because every summer I went to Girls Club Incorporated. And that's how I spent my summers at the girls' club. So I met a lot of girls that went to different schools, and I was able to, like, oh, hey, girl, when I got there. But, going from having chapel every Tuesday at a private school, puppets and playing chimes and singing in the chorus to going to school and you got dudes with Jerry curls and gold teeth and Waltmans and
Waltmans is crazy. Yo, I forgot that was a thing. Yo, what's going on?
So, and you know what I'm saying? Like starch Stay Flow jeans on and you like, hold up. So it was a culture shock, but at the same time, it's like, damn, he look good. Because I'm not, it was one black boy in my classroom and every girl had a crush on him because he was the only dude that looked like us. So being able to have a plethora to choose from, like, oh.
No, you gotta relax. These words is crazy. She said a plethora.
It was like so many, like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was a shock, but I quickly found my tribe. So I quickly adjusted. It took some time, but after 9th grade, I think I was okay.
So what kind of, like, and I'm asking just because, we talk about Josie High School, you teach there right now and stuff like that. So like, what kind of challenges did you face that freshman year? As far as like just whether it's academic wise, you probably didn't face no challenge academic wise, but
no.
Just adjusting wise.
Like, it was so much freedom and I wasn't used to that. So that was an adjustment that I had to make, as well as finding friends, because when I was in private school, I had the same friends from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade. So now I'm in a whole new surrounding. I have to ride the bus to school. And I was like,
that was ghetto, huh?
This was so ghetto to me. Like riding the bus. I don't want to do this. So just riding the bus to school and actually having black teachers that cursed you out. Like at my old school, they were going to pray for you. They're going to take you in. We're going to say some scriptures. So this was like, go in there and sit your ass down, I wasn't used to that. I was used to my grandma, somebody telling me that, but not my teacher. So that was a big adjustment. But like I said, I quickly found my best friends, and we're still best friends to this day, 29 years later. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just, and I tell my students this all the time, like, I sat in these seats, but my experience may be a slight different from yours because I didn't go to public school for 9 years. And then for the last 4 years of my high school education, I actually came here, and it was like, what? Yeah. So you seeing people get jumped in the hallway, people, selling drugs. They were smoking outside, just what is going on in here?
So one thing I will say, and it's not too much different now per se, but I guess they doing things around the area. I don't know what be going on around Josie. I just know Josie's there in the middle of all that, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed that so before I actually lived down here, we would drive, because my grandmother lived on 13th and Grand, or 12th and Grand, I think. And we would drive there but sometimes we have to go through that way because my grandma would drop off kids in Cherry Tree, so drop off some of them. And I was always see the school. I'm like, all right, that's Josie. We're talking about, okay, cool. But I'm like, but hold on, like it just don't seem like a real place when you think of what's around it. It's like, why is all this around the school? Like he might be still alive today. It's a guy, like I knew he was high. He would walk and he would just walk a certain way. Like he'd be like almost like jumping, but not jumping. I don't know. Like he was levitating sometimes. I don't really know. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like he would dress up like he was in the 60s or 40s, like nice suit and tie, but he high. And I'm like, okay, well, he's obviously a junkie, or he walk around, and you see a few of them. Then you got these houses over there. It's like people live there, but they shouldn't. It's like it's clearly a messed up house. So it's like how Hurricane is now. It's like it was like that over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, nobody want to clean this up. Like it's a whole school right here. Like, but you got kids that walk to school.
Yep. I used to walk to school. So I told you, like, riding the bus was not to say it was beneath me, but I hated riding the bus because it was so many people on the bus, and my great grandmother stayed on DeWitt Street. So it was walking distance to Josie. So I chose to move in to my great grandmother's house with my mom's sister. She was also a teacher. So I was like, I'm just going to stay here and walk to school with my friends. So my friends stayed in Cherry Tree. So they stayed in Sunset. My friends stayed in Jennings Home. So now I'm closer to my friends.
Right.
So that was just a choice that I made. But to your point, yeah, I mean, back then, because my mom went to Josie, my uncles went to Josie, my aunts went to Josie. And so it's like a family tradition at this point. My sister went to Josie. My brother didn't. He went to Evans. Boo. But yeah, so growing up in that neighborhood and my family's history started, right around the corner from Josie. I just felt like it was just meant for me to go to that school. And now I teach there, so it's a blessing.
And I wanted to get into that, but like to talk about that a little bit right now, I guess too, like the dynamic of going to a school like Josie. When I say like Josie, what I mean when I say it, 'cause I went there for a while, for a year too, and I loved it. Like I loved it. I hated it. I didn't want to go there, so I did hate the fact I had to go there. But I didn't want to leave. I'm like, damn.
Right.
But it's like, well, I know people over here, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And so I did love it. I felt connected because they were from where I was from, where I'm from. I'm like, I got the same life chances, like it's the same things. Everything that I'm seeing is like I've seen before, so I felt at home.
Right.
At Josie, but it's also like it's a feeling I can't really describe, and that's why people joke about like people like caring about homecoming and doing this, that, and third, and all the carrying on. I think they don't get it when you go to a certain school. So I've been to Butler. Like it's no disrespect to Butler, but it's no school pride there. It's just like you just go and go home. You know what I'm saying? You just go and go home. There's no school pride there. Josie, I remember my first day. It was a what they call them things, man. I'm not from here. It's a pep rally.
Okay, yeah.
I think I knew then I was gonna love the school.
Okay.
That's my first day.
Because it was crunk.
It was insane. And I had been to one at Butler. And I remember thinking like, yo, it was like the difference between like Disney and like one of them straight to DVD movies you would get when you were young, and that was really fire. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Mike Gibson, like it's funny because I'm seeing them now because we all went to school together, but like who they are now, that's what they was back then.
I believe
they were just the same way, just so much fun. It was I think DJ Walk It Out. That was that era. So it was like the and I just never seen nothing like it. And I said, I remember seeing at Butler at Super Rally. I'm like, yo, because they was winning school. It just wasn't the same.
It's not.
Yo, I never. And that was my first. I said, yo, I think I'm gonna like this school. That was where like I felt like anybody should want to be. Like, but people always talk about like Sunset and Southside all on get along, but they don't realize that in them moments like you don't even see that. You don't even see the division. Like
not when you're in the school.
It just be like love and happiness and joy. Like like the most beautiful scene the most beautiful black scene you could see.
Right.
And I just loved it, honestly, like me personally. But when I say a school like Josie, I just mean like the challenges that people think and they see, because you just drive past. When you drive past, it's like a war zone. So you're thinking that you're assuming it's probably worse than what it really is anyway. But a lot of them students got to grow up quick. A lot of them students got like stuff they facing
absolutely
outside. I interviewed a guy named I can say his name, Evan. He went to Josie, played football and stuff. Like, but a lot of these kids, they play sports. They are like they good kids as far as like they can be smart, but they make a lot of bad choices outside. Right. But adult choices outside. He told me he was in 11th grade. He just went with somebody to rob a store, and he ended up doing like 7 years after he graduated. Like he graduated still, but did 7 years right after. Like, and like, damn, like wow. Like it was nothing new to me to do that. Like he just was driving one day and he said, "You want to go?" I'm like, yeah, and that just changed his life forever, But you see pictures of him playing football, and like you was good. Well, I was outside, bro. Like, what can I do? And that's what the kids in Josie face. So the teacher for you, like, how hard is that to like even at that time? Before teacher question, at that time, were you able to grasp that as a student at Josie, like with your upbringing you had, and then the people you was around, and the people you seen in school, whether guys, whether they was fine or not, whatever. The fact that they had to make those real life choices outside, did you already know that at that age?
I did.
How did you interpret that?
I just felt like they didn't go through the same things that I had that I went through, but at the same time, some of them may have. Some of them may have had a mother who had substance abuse or a father that was in and out of jail. And just because I had the privilege to go to a private school for 9 years didn't change the fact that I still went through that. So I was still able to relate to them on a lot of levels. And I think that's why I end up loving the school, because I was able to relate to so many people that I couldn't relate to at private school.
Right.
At private school, nobody was going through what I was going through. I was just privileged enough to have that opportunity. So that's the reason why I started teaching, actually. Like, that's why I wanted to teach specifically at Josie, because of those things that you just talked about, like them having to make life decisions at such an early age, or them not being able to be given different opportunities that another child may have received.
Right. And I like that because, like I said, and I'm gonna get into it in a minute for real, but you also are very hands-on, like, and you just like you cherish the students, you talk about them, you make them feel good about everything they're doing, you make everything a big deal. And I think kids need that sometimes, because they need to know, like, I can get praised for this. They get praised for so many other things, that don't make sense, but you can get praised for this.
Right.
So teachers like that, I think, always like are influential in like decisions you don't make outside sometimes. Even if it's just one day you didn't go this place and now you survive. If the shooting over there, you was gonna go, but you didn't go because whatever reason. And I don't think people realize that how much that like teachers can impact a student's life outside of
Absolutely.
school.
They can, yeah.
But I want to get into, so you graduated from Josie. You said you went to Payne, right? Or you didn't go to Payne? You went to orientation.
I went to orientation. That's probably about all I went to. I definitely didn't go to class. I definitely didn't go to class.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think, and it's because it was nothing against Payne. It was just the fact that my grandmother was like, how most kids have the summer off. Like I graduated June 6, 1996. And then like literally 2 weeks later, she like, oh yeah, you got to go. You starting college, girl. Like, what? I ain't even had no summer break.
Yeah. So
I didn't give myself time. And it was just like I was doing what she wanted me to do and not necessarily what I wanted to do. I thought I knew what I wanted to do. I thought I knew what I wanted to major in. But then when I got there, it's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And I end up eventually dropping out. Like, literally, like I never went back. Like I went maybe a semester. I was on roster for a semester, but I stayed in my homegirls' dorm because they were from New York and they lived on campus. I'm like, y'all go to class. I'll be in here watching Young and the Restless. I'll be here when y'all get back. I wasn't going to class. So it was really a waste of time and money for me. But I still have some friends from Payne, so I guess it wasn't a complete waste.
So what did you do? Like, I mean, after Josie, like what is life after Josie for you?
Life after Josie was crazy.
Or after high school?
Yeah, life after high school was crazy. I really didn't have much direction of where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. At first, I thought I wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist because of my biology teacher and my anatomy teacher at Josie. And then I quickly got into those classes and I was like, oh, hell no, I don't want to do this. That's okay. I changed my mind. So what happened was I think I ended up getting like customer service jobs. And I just started doing that. And I eventually went to Augusta Tech, and one of my aunts was like, you should go into microcomputers because they make money. And I'm like, okay, I'm out making money. But then I got into microcomputers and I was on the dean's list, but I didn't enjoy what I was learning. So that was a waste. And eventually I just dropped out of that and I just really focused on working. And I just stayed in call center positions for probably about almost 15, 20 years. I was in the call center. So at that time in the call center, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a director of a call center because I'm so good at selling and I'm so good at, speaking to people over the phone and telling them what to do. And I got promoted pretty quickly at every call center that I worked in. So I was like, this is the job for me. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. And that's not what happened.
So what made you leave? Like, what made you go into the field you in now?
I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, and I got sick of them being out of school and me having to find somebody to watch them, and I wasn't able to be home with them. So when I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter was 7. They're 7 years apart, and I just said, I want to be a teacher. I had a friend that kind of encouraged me to go back to school, finish my degree. So I ended up going to Troy University, and I got a bachelor's in business administration. And she was like, you should become a teacher. And she was like, you'll be on the same schedule with your kids. You're about to have another baby. Like, this just makes sense. So after I got my degree, it still didn't happen. I was still working in a call center. And I got so frustrated with where I was working at that, you know how you get FMLA? Like, so you can get short-term disability if your doctor puts you out for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So they put me out for like 6 to 8 weeks for anxiety because I was like so depressed working there. And then it was time for me to go back. So I went to my OBGYN. I was like, can you tie my tube so I ain't got to go back to work for 8 weeks?
Oh, wow.
Literally. So I asked, that's how I knew that this is not where I want to be. Like, I'm asking to get medical surgery done so I don't have to go back to work. So I ended up quitting that job. And I just took a leap of faith. So I ended up going to Shoe Carnival, and I was a store manager there. And I got a call from a childhood friend that went to the girls club with me at the age of 8. And she was like, hey, you still want to teach? I was like, girl, yeah. And she was like, it's a business education position open at Hesper Middle School. I'm going to give them your name. So I went to the interview. They hired me on the spot, and that's how I started teaching. I taught at Hesper Middle School for 4 years, and then the position became available at Josie, and I got a call like, hey, you want to work at Josie? Because that's what I said I wanted to do from day one I taught. And it was a hard decision because I had really good colleagues and peers that I worked with, and I love the kids at Hesper Middle School. Like, I love those kids. But then I had to think about a full circle moment for me. So it was a no-brainer. Like, I had to go back to Josie and sow into some kids what was sown into me while I was there.
That's dope. That's. I wondered for you, like, just you, people like you that you know, and even me, like, being in customer service jobs. A lot of times you'll do it for so long because quiet as kept, like, they pay really well.
They do.
You know, like, and you're not really doing it. And once you learn it, it's like, it's super easy.
Right.
It's like you just waking up and you just going, and really it's just fun most until you go high into the position, you start getting stressed out. But
yeah,
most part it's just fun, and then you just you know, go home and whatever. It's almost like school a little bit. You just
yeah, because you have people sitting beside you, y'all tripping out during the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. What this lady want, putting the people on mute. So yeah, it was really good until it wasn't.
Yeah, and so the decision to go back to Josie, it was you said it was hard, but how hard was it for you to just, because it's something you wanted to do from the get go, like that was what you wanted to do?
I felt bad for my principal at Hesper Middle School. I think that's what made it hard because he was like, I need you to make a decision. I was like, oh. So the hard part for me was like my youngest daughter was also going to Hesper Middle School. So she was going to school with me because she had just started middle school. And it's like, now I got to find her a school to go to. I don't want her to go to the school she's zoned for. I need to make sure that she's straight before I make this decision to move, you know, because I want to keep her close to me. And it just worked out. Like, she ended up getting accepted into Richmond County Career Technical Magnet School, so RCTCM. So she got accepted in there, and I'm like, yes. So you can ride the bus from Josie to RCTCM. You can ride with school with me in the morning, and it was just like, this job was meant for you.
It worked out for you. Yeah,
it did.
And all right, so now we have the Josie. You know, you teaching at Josie. Talk about, like, how do you approach teaching at Josie, first of all, like, and because I asked that because I think that's the school you gotta have a certain approach to. You can't just come in there and think you're just gonna clock in and go home. Well, you can, I guess, but
you can. It's plenty of people that do.
It's very chill out. What's up? But I feel like it's a detriment to the kids doing that. You know, it's some jobs in life that, like, you really have to kind of, you got to put more into it than you initially might think. Mm-hmm. Just because if you want to be good at it. Yeah. And I think in teaching, you could be good, like, far as like you administrating, like, hey, this is what you got to do today. Cool. Right. But then to develop a rapport, help grow them, you know, help them make better life choices, influence them. Right. It takes more than just showing up.
It does. A whole lot.
So
more.
What's your approach to your job, what you do, like your career, like your approach to, I'm a teacher at Josie High School, not no other high school. This is Josie. It's T-Dub.
Right. So initially for me, being an alum and graduating from there, So as we mentioned earlier, I entered into Josie in 1992 as a freshman. 30 years later, 2022, I entered into Josie as a teacher. So it was a full circle moment for me. And when I went in, it was like, wow, I'm really here. And I just took the same approach of, I want you to know that I'm here for you. I want you to know that I have pride in this school, and I want you to have the same pride that I feel 28 years later. I want to instill that in you. I want to show you the good parts of Josie. I want to show you the good that comes out of Josie. And it starts with me, because I'm good that came out. You know, I was hell in school. And I tell them that, like, I don't even know how I graduated. I don't know how. I don't. Like, Miss Fano wanted to fail me, my English teacher, but I still passed. And I wanted them to know that I'm here to help you along the way. So that's what I guess is my driving force, because I know what some of those teachers did for me.
Yeah.
Because they could have gave up on me. I was bad.
But I know you mentioned something earlier, and I wonder, because I never try to be Libra, so we never try to be too one way. But you think like, okay, yeah, it probably are teachers that just come and go, clock and clock. But I wonder what their life was like. So you have a different feel for this school, because
I do.
I know these kids. I know their parents. You know, I know them. I was them.
Right.
I walk these halls. I know the pressure. I know, and some teachers don't know that.
They don't.
And don't care either, but they just don't know it, you know?
Yeah, they don't care either. They don't know, they don't care.
That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Man. That's the way the cookie crumbles, you know?
What is it? I think I posted the other day, either they don't know, don't show, or don't care, or don't care about what's going on in the hood. They don't. And so it's one of the three. And I think a lot of them is either they don't know or they don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, because the ones that do know, those are the ones that show up for those kids.
Well, you a teacher. I'm gonna ask you, so like as a teacher, how do you maneuver through that with your peers? Like these people you call peers that aren't caring. Mm-hmm. And then if you care, at some point, it's a twofold thing, because at some point you could like, oh, she just doing too much. That's how you come off.
It'd be like that.
It's that person at work that feel like, oh, you doing too much to get seen, but you just love what you do.
Yeah, no, you're doing too little.
Yes, you're doing too little. You're not doing enough.
Yeah, you're not doing enough. So I do have peers, and the ones that I feel like are kind of engaged, I try to bring them along. Like, hey, girl, why don't you help me with this? Can you help me chaperone this, or can you help me put this together? So I want to try to include the ones that I know are willing to help, and exclude the ones that don't want to be bothered. So I try to build my own little tribe of peers, of teachers at the school, and it's worked so far. A lot of times I do a lot of stuff by myself, because I have an idea and I was like, I want to get this done. And I know if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done right. So sometimes I don't even bother asking people. I just do it.
But you do a lot of like asking for social media, like you'll any influence from the city, you'll say, can you come do this? Because even when I came and talked that one time, I remember Dorf was there. Like I'm like, okay, I know, you know, people that I knew and I've seen it at functions, and I wanted to interview, like we all there. Like, okay, she got the heavy hitters. She got some people that really, you know, really out here doing real stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was dope for the students, because these people they can touch, they can see. Right. They parents might know them. Probably do know them. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was dope. But I do like the level of dedication you have with the student. Like I feel like you're super dedicated to them. Even watching you in the classroom, like how you control a room. My daughter, my oldest daughter, I asked her, I said, you got any questions? She was like, not really. I'm like, all right, whatever. And she's like, well, which teacher? I said, Josie. She's like, oh yeah, I got questions. She's like, well, ask her how she get the kids to calm down. Ooh. Because in her mind, like she hear about certain schools, certain areas. Right. And so I wondered that too. And I was there like, yo, you know, you kind of, the room was controlled. You had your ones and twos there. I was like, you know, y'all going back and forth, and you ain't budging, they ain't budging. But then they back down. How do you control a classroom in a school of that magnitude, with that environment, where they're not saying they're disrespectful, but it can get that way very quickly. Yeah. So early, as soon as school, I'm always anxious and nervous when a new school year starts, because you don't know who you're going to get in your classroom. So for me, I like to go ahead and just set expectations day one. I tell them who I am. You know,
first I tell them who I am in reference to I graduated from here. I show my diploma is sitting on my desk because immediately now you can relate to me. You know, I play music every day while classes are changing. Like I have a boombox in my room and I blast it as loud as it goes, and I play gangster music, trap music, whatever, because I know that that's something that they can relate to. Now, it's not the dirty version, of course. It's like the clean versions, but they be bopping down, oh, I want to be in that class. You know, like they getting crunk walking to their next class, and I know that sometimes that's all they need to go to the next class. And when they're coming in my class, you know, it's 5 minutes before the bell rings. So that's how I relate and how I build that relationship and rapport with my kids is through music. I learned that at a school that I went to in Atlanta, so I started doing that in my school, and it worked. I also had a microphone that I would wear, like a wireless microphone, and they were like, oh my God. And so I act like I'm a TV game show host sometimes. Like they just don't know who they're getting with me. So I think it's my personality that kind of helps keep them calm. Like you said earlier, I'm a fun teacher, but they know not to play with me. Yeah. If that makes sense. You know, like we joke and jive and stuff, but they know not to cross that line. I very rarely have a student that's in my class get disrespectful with me. You know, most of the time they're like, who she talking? I know she ain't talking to Miss Luckie, you know, like, or whatever. Yeah. So they have my back, and it's because of the love that I show to them and the opportunities that I try to provide to them. And the music helps a lot. Like Rich Homie Quan died. Mm-hmm. The next day, I'm playing Rich Homie Quan. So the kids all at my door like, oh my God, Miss Luckie died. And, you know, so, but that was something that I knew that they could relate to and maybe brighten up their day a little bit. And it made them a little bit more comfortable coming into class.
You know, it's funny. That wasn't on my docket, but that is funny you say that because I'm very big on like music being like a timestamp for life. Like no matter what, a song could just take you to a year.
Right.
A song will take you to a year, a specific day, that time, whatever you felt when you heard it. And I remember Rich Homie Quan did pass. I was thinking that like, yo, he got a bunch of songs that, you know, that 2012 to like 2015 era was like, he kind of had a really, really, really good like, you know, showing. And that it's funny that you have that tactic to do that because, what's up, boo? Oh, okay. Well, she tagged me, so I'm gonna. She wants you to. All right, you can go over there. Go ahead. She gonna tell you. Go ahead. Go ahead, go give her. Okay, Bailey, you want student of the month?
Congratulations! I heard you got student of the month. What grade are you in? You're in second grade. So what did you do that was so amazing? You don't know, you just being you. That's all, being respectful and being sweet. Okay, and your dad took you out to eat that day, right?
Did I take you to Outback?
Yeah. So what did they give you? Did you get a certificate? What did you get when they told you were a student of the month? Okay. How did that make you feel? Were you excited? Did you show it off to everybody like, I got student of the month?
All right, come on.
Thank you.
I'm almost done. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, so Bailey, she like, you got, you know, it's almost like knowing your students, you know, you got two daughters that's like different. So my oldest, she won it. She like, matter of fact, when she won, we had to find out at the school. We walking through the school.
Wow.
And it's on the wall. I'm like, yo, you student month? Yeah, oh yeah. You ain't want to say nothing? Like, oh, I ain't, okay. But when she wants to get that,
you to know.
Tell me I'm doing good. Like, you know, hype me up. That's how they just different. Right. So I wanted to definitely do it. So shout out to her for that. Yes. She been texting the whole time. Daddy, you ready? Daddy, you ready? Daddy, you ready?
Sweet. I love it.
But so yeah, and then like, what would you say is the toughest part of your job? And I say that because, you know, I'm on Facebook. I know teaching is very tough, especially in today's climate. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is about some parenting, but I think parents think that school supposed to raise your child. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the toughest part? And you in high school. God bless.
Yeah.
You getting like people that think they know everything and they know nothing at all.
Right. The toughest part for me and the most heartbreaking part, I think, for me is that having to accept the fact that I can't save everybody. I can't I can't save everybody. And as much as I would love to, like if I see a kid that's just not doing right, like, and I want to save them, and I know that either A, they're not receptive, or B, they're maybe just too far gone, or they're once they leave school, when they get home, it's something totally different. So just knowing that I can't save everybody, I think that's the hardest part of teaching, because you have those that your heart really pours out to, and you're like, oh my God, I see so much potential in you if you just listen to what I'm saying. And they don't.
As in your position, like as a teacher, like what advice or what cry for help rather would you want from the parents? Like could you give them like, hey, help us this way, or hey, do this instead of doing this? Like what can you give? What advice can you give parents, or what do you want parents to do differently from what you've seen in just your background?
Be a parent and not a friend. And the reason why I say that is because I think like the kids that I have in my classroom, they're 15, 16 years old, and some of their parents are right at 30, 32. So they were actually kids when they had them, and they're trying to be their friend, and not necessarily parent them and give them the structure that they, in the foundation that they need. Because it's always, free my boy or whatever. But, where was the disconnect? Like, why didn't they listen to you? You can't expect them to listen to us if they're not even listening to you.
Yeah.
So that's why I say be a parent and not a friend. Like, I'll joke and jive with my kids, but they know I ain't their friend. Maybe when they get 40, they be like, I ain't your little friend. But then, like me and my mom, she probably told me, I ain't your little friend. But now we like, Mom, where you want to go? You want to go get something to eat? You want to hang out?
Yeah, right.
So, but it's a time for that. And I think right now, a lot of them are lacking like the affection that we were talking about earlier, because a lot of us grew up without that affection, So just doting on them and loving on them, I don't think they get enough of that. So I try to get, I have to be careful. I try to give them hugs and like, girl, I love you, have a good day. Even with my students, but you got to be careful with that. But if they were getting that from home, then I think that'll kind of help a lot too.
Well, you mentioned something. This is a random thought I thought about too, because it's Josie. I don't know why I'm thinking about it now, but like, is that tough too? Because like you do have kids that you see something in, or you try to show some kind of affection to, but a lot of them are young adults. They horny as hell. I'm just be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They, you could just be helping them. They thinking something else. I don't know. She trying to holler at me, man. I'm not saying they think that.
Right.
I don't know. But I was a high school student once. I never had that happen, but you hear about things like that. But then you got all these cases, especially in Richmond County. There'd be a bunch of cases like that. Well, in Columbia more than likely, but be a bunch of cases like that where students is doing this and teachers is doing that. Like how do you navigate through that? Like especially if it's a young man. Male. Yeah.
So I do have some young men that I've been really close with, but I make sure that I'm never like, and that's kind of difficult because they were in my DECA club, and shout out to you, Tristan, because I love that little boy. He's not a little boy; he's a young man. He's 18, but I look at him like my son or my nephew. I always try to encourage him, and I would never be like, come in here in the room and no, we would never be left alone together. So you just have to make sure you don't cross certain lines, because you don't want people on the outside looking in to look at it differently. And there's been times that he has been stuck at school and had no ride home. And I was like, dang, I know I ain't supposed to probably take him home, but I don't want him just sitting out here. I have to call an Uber. So I would have another girl ride with me. So that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just try to make sure that I do what I can do to still show them I love you, I care about you, I'm here for you, but without blurring the line. Like, I let them know from day one, listen, I'm almost 50. I'm old enough to be your grandma. Okay? Don't try me, try Jesus. He's all right.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying.
But I remember being at Josie, and it was a teacher I had, Miss Riley, and y'all remind me a lot of each other because, one, it was the same classroom. That's the first thing. It was the same exact classroom.
Same exact classroom, yeah.
And I had for biology. And this is a weird story I'm just gonna say, but I remember I used to pride myself on my report card.
Okay.
Now my behavior probably wasn't the greatest in school, I'm not gonna lie, but my report card always going. I was just smart. And I remember I came, gave my transcript, all that stuff. She was like, I'm sure okay, I got a smart one here, right? So cool. Thursday, Friday, all that stuff happened. So come back Monday, she had to put her homework out. Well, I didn't do homework. She was like, hold on, stop. Hey, you, why you didn't do the homework? I'm like, I just didn't. You asked me, I just didn't do it. And she just gave me this whole, like, she cursed me out pretty much, like, not cursed, but like,
right. She scorned
don't think you coming over here and because you at this school, you're going to act this way, you're going to do that. Da, da, da. I don't think I missed no homework from her the rest of the year. And I just didn't do homework. It just wasn't my jam. Like, I didn't think I needed to do it. I was I was smart. I didn't do it for. I do it in school, but I always did it, and I always felt like teachers like that where they can be where you can feel like they know you. You know what I'm saying? You can relate to them. They can be related, but then also they can be like, hey, look, but don't forget you the student. I'm the teacher.
Right. So I think in that moment you probably felt like she must really care about me and my education because she wanted to make sure that I got my stuff done. And I had that with a kid today, like he hadn't done no work. And I purposely bought a laptop because I have a school laptop, but I purposely bought a laptop just to have on reserve because he never brought one to class. And when I gave him this laptop, he busting out 100s. And I looked at him today and I'm like, yo, like, all you got to do is do your work. You see you making 100. And he smiled so big. So just having somebody showing them, I care about your grades. Like I'm your teacher, but I also want you to be successful. Yeah. I'm not here to make you fail. My job is to make sure that you succeed, So whatever I can do to help you reach that goal of graduation, because that should be everybody's goal in this room, then I'm there to do that. So
I know I missed this question, but not that I have it written down right now notes, but
gotcha.
I know you said you entered Josie 92. Okay, I just gotta say I know it sounds crazy. I'm gonna say it.
No, go ahead.
I was only 2 years old. That's insane.
What? In 92?
Right? Yeah, I was. Well, I was one. I was one. Not birthday October, so school was August. So
yeah. I was 13 in the 9th grade.
Me too. Damn, me too. I hated that. Like I always felt like a young buck, but it was fine.
No, I loved it.
I hated it. Everybody, girls older than you. Yeah. It's just like, oh boy, I already got to fight with the niggas that like young girls anyway, God damn, I ain't driving, but it's okay. Right. But Josie. So you say you walked in Josie in 92. What difference did you see walking in there in 2022?
A lot had changed. Like the culture itself had changed. The amount of pride in the school had changed. Students.
But better or worse?
I would say on the worst and I feel like if you don't know where you came, what the school was, you can't appreciate what it is now. Right, right. So I think that was the thing. Like, wow, y'all don't be what? Like we was amped up homecoming during school and we participated in everything, and it's a little bit different now. I think technology is what changed a lot of things too, because back then, if you had a beeper in school, we knew you were selling drugs and and your beeper was gonna get took. So when I got in 11th grade and I had a beeper, you couldn't tell me nothing. And a little joint where you could leave a message that go across the screen, you couldn't tell me nothing.
What kind of drugs you sold?
Huh? Oh.
I'm just playing.
I am my daddy's daughter. But no, but I think that's what may have changed. So me trying to bring that back to the school, and I think a lot of kids are buying into. Some kids are buying into it, and some of them just don't see it. So I was telling you before we started recording that my kids are doing a commercial. So of course I teach marketing and entrepreneurship, and part of the 4 P's is promotion. So I told them to imagine a scenario of a 8th grade student, and I was talking about myself. I had a choice to pick what school I wanted to go to. Why should an 8th grade student, now that we have school choice, choose Josie over any other public school, not a magnet school, but any other public school. Tell me why. And they had a choice board. They can choose school pride, a student, a day in the life of a student, like the culture of our school, the tradition and the legacy, the different clubs and organizations, or athleticism. And so I'm anxious to see what they put together.
I'm curious too now.
Yeah.
I would pick school pride, me personally.
A lot of kids did pick that one.
I just never seen nothing like it. Like,
right.
I never, like I said, and this is not just me saying it now, like looking back. I'm telling you, even when I went to the school, I just never, even you think athletics. Like, I remember watching the, Miss Brantley, she wanted me to.
Miss Brantley.
She wanted me to play basketball. I said, I don't want to play. I want to be here. I don't want to do that. I'm very, I don't want to do it. She's okay. Hey, come here real quick somewhere. I'm like, all right, cool. We start walking. She wanted me all the way to the gym to Coach Parks. Said, oh yeah, he want to play basketball. I said, I don't. Why you do that for?
Did you play?
No, I didn't play, but I did lie. I said, I'll come today. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to go there. I just was being, a teen. And but seeing the basketball team, I was like, yo, it's crazy because a lot of them players were so good that they could have played. They could have started anywhere else. I'm talking started anywhere else in the CSRA, but they love Josie so much. They're okay with getting that 7 minutes and playing behind 2 or 3 people because they want to play for Josie.
Right.
They want that green Josie across their chest. They want
same thing with the band. I was in the band. Like people lied about their address or use their grandmother's address or their auntie address or whoever address because they want to be a part of the Sonic Boom of the South. It was nothing like it. And I even told my kids, I said, we may not have the same, you may not have the same pride that I have. I said, but trust when you leave, you will. I said, there's no other school in Richmond County like T.W. Josie or Lucy C. Laney. I said, now, ain't nobody else doing it like us.
Yeah.
Period.
Facts.
Nobody else brings, things to the city like we do. Like we have the largest parades, Josie or either Laney, the largest tailgating, Josie or either Laney. I said, we even have a queen named Miss Josie and a queen named Miss Laney. So that lets you know. I said, ain't no Miss Spartan. Ain't no Miss Razorback. Ain't no Miss Bulldog.
Hey, let's relax. Relax. You stop that Razorback, all right?
Ain't no Miss, some Patriot. Like, ain't none of that. So just letting them know that they come from a historically rich Black school is important. Yeah. I don't know. I graduated in 1996. Will I graduate in 2026? We'll see.
Oh, here we go. I mean, I think that from watching you at the school and then seeing what you do, I do think that you can see the impact you have on the kids. Even kids that, like I said, the group I got, I wasn't supposed to see that group per se. But even seeing them, I just felt like a lot of them were intrigued in what you were doing. And I just think that was dope. When I went to that school, you said you teach marketing. What's the
marketing and entrepreneurship? So
I took that class, and back then those was like elective classes you could pick. So even though I was going to school for that, I would never join DECA. Don't ask me why. I was being a very rebellious teen. I didn't want to be down here no more. I'm like, I just go back to New York, please. I didn't do DECA. I didn't do. It's another one you could do.
Voca.
I didn't do none of that. I didn't. But I went on all the trip because they was like, you need to come to the trip. I come to the trip. I ain't being part of the dudes though. I'll come. My grades are still high. And she was like, just come.
Yeah.
And I would come, and the teacher that taught, I just felt like, the teacher that came to work and went home. Older white lady, don't even fit our demographic. We didn't have a bunch of youths in the school at the time. We had a few of them, and they stood out. Mr. June, Raleigh. It's a few more teachers that I had that don't teach anymore. I think a few of them probably passed away now. But it just wasn't. We didn't have a lot, at the time, and so I didn't take that class seriously. So when I'm like, oh, this is the same. I said, this is crazy. They're taking this serious now. I mean, I would be in a class sometime. It's gonna sound like I'm special. I wasn't special, but it was like 8 of us in there, just because people wouldn't come to class. It's a class of 20, but they like, I ain't come to that class. And it just passed. Mostly players, sports players, or whatever. So to see you have that subject and actually it was a crowded class. Like these are kids that, and it's some 9th graders, and they speaking like they about to be in 11th grade. Like you can see the maturity in them, as far as like what they know, right? Not what they showing them. So I did like that. Like I know your approach. You talk about your approach to teaching them, but like, what are some of your aspirations for like the students you teaching now? Like, what do you want for them, and just what do you want to do as far as influencing them wise?
So I'm glad you asked that. To my surprise, last year 3 of my DECA students graduated, and they went off to school. 1 went to Fort Valley State, and 2 went to Savannah State, and they chose a career in education.
Okay, that's dope.
So they looked at what I did for them, and they was like, I want to be a teacher. I don't necessarily know what grade level I want to teach. I just know that I want to change and make an impact on lives. So I guess that just whatever it is that they want to do, I want them to know that you can do it. You know, the sky is not the limit. You can be whatever you want to be.
You know, I don't know if it's different now. I'm just going to ask you because I'm not trying to talk financials, but when I grew up, coming up, nobody ever made it. This is just me now. Maybe it's different. You tell me. But when I grew up, teachers never made it cool to be a teacher. Like, a lot of teachers, they act like they hated their job. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. They was like, one thing I hated. Oh my God, I used to hate this. Like, one, I don't get paid enough for this. I don't want to hear what you hate as a kid, but whatever. But it was like, oh, I got mine. I don't care. It's like, well, damn, what you here for? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what? I made that mistake my very first year teaching middle school at Hesper Middle School. Because in my mind, I'm like, you trying to get where I am, but guess what? All of them aren't trying to get where you are.
At all.
And it wasn't until I realized they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So when I realized that, what I knew didn't matter. I need you to know how much I care about you, because once you know how much I care about you and how much I want you to be successful, then you can do anything you want to do.
Yeah. So
it don't matter what degree I got, where I came from. They don't give a damn about none of that. They don't care.
And you make a good point. And what I was really trying to say too was like, so I never had aspirations to be a teacher. But now I do podcasts and I talk to my thinking out loud, and I like to put it out, and I like the feedback I get from a lot of them sometimes too, right? Even like my guy right behind me, like he'll say, yo, this, I meant this. I like to hear that. But students do that as well. And you can do that through teaching. You can have my thing, I thrive off impacting somebody's life or somebody's decision, somebody's mood. I thrive off that. And if I knew that teaching, I could be that impactful in teaching, I would have chose teaching a long time ago.
But you are teaching.
I am. I would love to do it every day though. Like, you know, like, but I do the management too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm the manager. Like, if you don't know something, I'm gonna sit you down. Let's talk about it. Before I start to, let's say, hey, you're just not doing good. But I'm gonna talk. No, I always do that. Everybody say you teach well. But I look at people like you. When I go there, I be like, I remember leaving like, yo, I could have been a teacher, bro. This is insane.
But I'm saying you're teaching, like you said, dude behind, you're teaching. You're teaching. You came into my classroom and you taught that person how to use a camera.
Yeah. So yeah.
You are teaching. I mean, you may not be teaching in a classroom full of students, but you have that one-on-one teaching opportunity when people come in like, how do I set up my podcast, or how do I set this camera up, or what type of lighting do I need to use? Yeah. You're a teacher.
But even like the impacting part, like I like, cause like you see movies, and I see a lot of videos now, and I don't know, like guess maybe my dad and my grandma, everybody passing, they maybe like emotional over the years, I guess. I don't know. I never cried. I just wouldn't cry. I just couldn't do it. I thought it was illegal. And now I feel like I do it all the time, right? But it's time you watch videos, and I've been seeing this video. I don't know if you shared it or who shared it, but a few people shared it on my timeline. Like, it was these kids giving jerseys to teachers. I guess
that's in they did that at Glen Hills, I think, recently.
Well, I seen it. It was I ain't know the players at the time, so I don't know what school it was. Maybe it's a TikTok trend. Could be a TikTok trend.
It was.
And it's no context to what they're saying per se, but you could feel what they're saying based off the teacher, like they embracing, and then when they hug and like, and I'm like, damn, why am I getting watery for? But it's the impact that people have every day. Like, so we talk about these teachers talking about they coming in and just going home, but that's an impact on the kid as well.
Yeah.
Like, kids, teacher don't care about me, man. I'm gonna go, do this.
Last year, I got nominated for Teacher of the Year. So I got nominated for Teacher of the Year my first year. I got nominated last year. And everybody just knew, oh, Miss Luckie got Teacher of the Year. As much as she do for us and helped us and getting us jobs and this, that, and the third, and I didn't get it. And I was bummed. Like, it wasn't because, I was bummed because I felt like my peers don't even think that I deserve it, as much as I do. So that was kind of like a gut punch. But my kids, My kids brought me plaques, cakes, cards, balloons, all kinds of stuff that said, "You are our teacher of the year." Like, you are the
Oh,
best teacher.
wow.
So, I mean, they had stuff engraved that they brought to me. And it was just like, you know what? The accolades of being teacher of the year cannot compare to the impact that I made on these kids. Because in their eyes, I am the teacher of the year. Damn what my peers think is about what these kids perceive me as and how they see me. And they still text me to this day. Hey, Miss Lucky, what you doing? Can you call me, FaceTime me? They'll FaceTime me like I'm like part of their family, like real talk. So just knowing that that's the type of impact that I made on them, I could care less about being named Teacher of the Year.
I think that's a dope story too, because like I talk about that a lot, about like the fact that I'm a pick impact of everything. So it's some video that you post or I post, whatever, it might not get a lot of shares, whatever, but then every time I see somebody, they say it's that video right there. Like, where's the rest of that video right there? And you thinking like it's not a big deal because it's not getting a lot of views, but that's the one everybody want, and that's when people start talking to you about. But also people say, I watched this and you said this and it made me do this, and you just seeing the impact of like the trickle effect that you said something, they applied it somewhere, and then this happened for them, and they for some reason they're attributing that to you,
right?
And it's really no better reward than that, besides your paycheck, of course, but it's no better reward than that for the most part, because at the end of the day, like I really, a lot of people I know, they really thrive off impact. Like that's the best payment for me.
Yeah. I was able to get my baby. She's in 11th grade this year. So last summer, she applied for a job at SRS, and she got it. And they had never hired a student in Richmond County before, and they hired her, and she got invited to speak on a panel in front of like different counties and districts and Georgia Power and SRS. Like, so I'm there and she's talking on the panel, and she made me tear up. She was like, she said, I came from A.R. Johnson in the 9th grade and I went to Josie. She said, when you go into A.R. Johnson, those kids get way more than the students at T.W. Jones. She said, but Miss Lucky is going to make sure that we get everything that any other school in this district gets. She's going to make sure her kids get it. This job opportunity that I had, like, she's going to be there for the next 2 years. She wants to be a chemical engineer. She's in 11th grade, dually enrolled. She's in college. She work at SRS from 6 to 11, come to school for 2 classes, and then take a college course. Like,
that's amazing. That's dope.
So that right there is like, I always tell people my purpose is bigger than my paycheck. You can't pay me for what I do, like, for real. Like, you could try, but you can't pay me for what I pour into these kids. You can't.
And I wonder, like, you say that, that's a beautiful saying for one, and I've heard it a couple times, and I think that that should kind of it's hard to say that should be the criteria, because I don't want it to seem like that we don't want to pay people for what they worth.
Right, absolutely.
But at the same time, I mean, you know what you get into before you get into it. Like, you go to a job, that job, the threshold is $15 an hour. That's the max you're going to make. So let's not go in there acting like, I'm going to get 25. No. So you know, right?
Right.
And with teaching, I do feel like that. I feel like because you're, not that you're in charge of it, but you impact so many lives that's going out these doors day in, day out, and that's affected by what they experience in these halls. Yeah, that need to be the mindset of like the majority of the staff. Like my purpose. So you should have some kind of purpose there. Like it shouldn't be to come there and just go home.
Right, or just to come get a check on the 15th and the 30th. Like, what impact are you making? How are you inspiring these kids? Like, what are they gonna say about you 20 years from now? Are you gonna be that teacher that they remember? Because I remember my teachers, and when I went into this position, I wanted them to remember me like I remember those teachers that I had.
That's amazing. I do want to ask you just some teacher questions quickly before we leave. Like, so what's your thoughts? And this is just random stuff now. What's your thoughts on like people have a problem with like teachers like going to the club out here for some reason? I don't know. Like I'm just throwing it out there. Because Augusta is so small,
right?
Do you feel like if you can't like go socialize and be a teacher at the same time?
I feel like you can. I think that once you get into maybe leadership, or administration, or you're working at the board within a certain position, then you do want to be mindful of what you do and how you carry yourself. Like I have kind of calmed down on the things that I post on Facebook, because I was a petty LaBelle. You know, I would post petty posts all day long, like, and I didn't really care. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't, I think, until people started walking up to me, Lucky Charms. Oh my God, you're so good with those kids. So I know, because they call me Lucky Charms, they don't know me.
Right.
You know, they're following me on social
Imagine
media.
that.
Right. So it's like, dang, I got to be mindful. Like, I had commissioners know who I was, and I didn't even know that they knew who I was. So I just had to start being mindful of the things that I post. Now, do I go out and have fun with my friends? Yes. Am I turned up with a drink in my hand, you know, on social media? Probably not. But I think that you should be able to go out and just be who you are. But you, at the same time, you have, just like kind of how celebrities are, and if you like, I don't want to be a role model. But you are a role model. Like, people are looking at you.
It's hard for celebrities too, but it's kind of hard for teachers to say that, because like that's your job.
That's your job.
Your job is to be a role model and yeah.
You know? So what I look like out here, you know, turned up, drunk, sloppy on a video, boot over twerking, and they were like, "Oh, Miss Lucky, I seen you on Snap." And
that's insane. Now think about it. That is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I was on the fence about like what, because I can't tell them how to live, you know what I'm saying? But I do think you should represent yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, you can go out and do whatever, but just like you said, there's certain things you probably just shouldn't do, because you might impact the student for real. And they might be like, you know, I want to do that because Miss Lucky did it. I want to do that.
Right.
You know, you never know what they're going to take to follow you. Like,
I'm just glad video cameras and social media was not around when I was in high school. So like, if I get with my girlfriends now, we have a rule, like, no phones, no cameras. Like, and if we take pictures, that's just between us. It's not for social media. Like, everything ain't got to be put on social media. I turn up with the best of them, but that don't mean it's gonna be on social media.
But I know a few teachers too, and I think some people struggle with that as well, because they have a huge, I say huge social media presence, and that's just what they know to do. Cause they kind of grew into that or grew up with that.
Right.
Not that they're younger. But then they always got to go to the board of ed, or got to go into the principal's office because somebody's saying, hey, they said this. Hey, they said this. It's like, damn, you can't have an opinion as a teacher. Like, it seems like it's very strict rules with social media and being a teacher.
It is. There's actually, I think, like something in our handbook, our policy about social media posts and how we portray ourselves on social media. So it depends on, like, if they're okay with just being in the classroom, then hey, twerk. No, but I want to elevate my career, so I know I have to be mindful. I don't want the area superintendent looking like, oh, and this is who we're trying to hire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess this all depends on what you want out of life. You know, if you feel like, hey, I'm a twerk and drink tequila shots and put Don Julio on top of my head on the weekends and posting on social media, then don't be surprised if a parent questions you about how you're teaching their child.
Do you know? I don't drink or smoke, but like, do you know like why people put it on their head? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I just saw it on social media. I don't. Yeah, that's nasty. I don't like. Is that tequila or something?
I be seeing a bottle on it. I just didn't know why they did that.
I don't know why they do that either. I don't know where that came from, but no. I got
you got
water.
Yeah, H2O. A lot of it, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm at 5:00, and as long as I get done by the time I go to bed, I'm gonna be okay. So
I hope you use the bathroom before you go to sleep.
Yes, Lord. I done had that dream before.
Well, I do want to on a deep note, like if you can, like, tell me, like, what is your best or your most loved teaching story, like, thus far, like, that you felt like this is why I do this for. And whether it could be a student, whether it be outside, not your student, whatever, just, you know, in the realm of your career, what's like your favorite teaching story, and like what give me the ins and outs of it.
Hard question, because I don't know. I guess I have so many, but I think, okay, I got one. So when I first started DECA at Josie, I started with 4 students. I started with 4 students. And I had an assignment in my classroom where I gave these kids these scenarios, and they had to read over the scenarios and pitch it to me like they were on Shark Tank or whatever. And this one girl, Natalie, hey Natalie, Natalie Duke, she came up in front of the classroom and wowed me. Now, Natalie is a Caucasian. She's a tomboy. So she definitely is not the description of what a Josie student looks like. And she came up and wowed me. And at the time, I called my mentor, Mr. Al Young, RIP. I love him. He was my mentor in CTAE. And I told him, I'm like, it's this girl, like, she just came up and wowed me. And he was like, get her to join DECA. I'll pay for her to join. So it took some encouragement. He didn't have to pay for her to join. But he was like, if you get her to join, I'll pay for her membership. I'll pay for her registration to your next conference. And I talked to her and she was like, I'll join. And she stayed with me. She actually became my vice president of hospitality.
Oh, wow.
Natalie was a girl that did not like getting up in front of people and to speak. It made her nervous. She hated it. But after she graduated, she wrote this long post on Facebook. And she said, I wanted to give up so many times, but because of you, I am where I am today. And I can't thank you enough. I love you. And I'm like, she left day of graduation to move to Atlanta. And she's in career field. She actually is a plumber.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, she didn't know where she wanted to go. She just wanted to give up. And I kept just speaking life into her. Like, you're not going to give up. You're going to graduate. You're going to do this. And she just didn't see it for herself. And the post that she made on my page, it made me, I'm like literally about to tear, but I'm trying not to. But I think that was life-changing for me, because while I do relate to Black kids, I think it was an opportunity for me to see that you're just as relatable to anybody else too. Like, you make an impact on that child too.
Right.
So I think that's like my favorite story right now.
I think the dope part about the story, like I said earlier, I went on trips with DECA and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But I was the same way. I didn't want to ask mom for the money. I felt like, not saying she wouldn't do it. Me being older, I'm like, we ain't got money for that. We just ain't got it. Because you got these dues you got to pay. And I don't want to be a kid that ain't got the dues. Now you getting joked. I'm like, I'm doing a good job, never being a butt of nobody's jokes. Mm-hmm. I'm straight. Mm-hmm. But I say that to say, like, you wish that, that's why I see you. People like me, I don't know if everybody say the same thing, but I wish I had a teacher like you. Like, that would have been like, let me call mentor. Let me see if I could. I probably wasn't budging back then, but still, nobody, like, just to try, you know what I'm saying? Just to push. Those are the teachers you kind of want that's like going to stay on you. You tell them no 10 times, okay, tell me 12. Yeah. I'm going to keep asking you, Because at some point, it's going to wear you down. But just a teacher saying, like, I believe in you. You can do this, speaking life into you. It just pushed you to a certain way that you never know you can get to that section before in your life. So hearing that is dope, because she probably didn't want to be involved in that stuff, but y'all reaching out, telling her what she could do, and she did it. Now look, it helped in the long run. So we need more teachers like you.
Thank you.
Definitely. Like I said, I know I shared it on Facebook. I said Teacher of the Year. It ain't gotta be the whole year. I just see enough to know that. You know what I'm saying? I'm friends with a lot of teachers, and you can tell. I don't care. I might take it, I guess. You can tell who like doing it because they love to do it, who just doing it. Right. And there's nothing wrong if you're doing it right still. Hey, fine. Everybody not going to be above and beyond. But
right, absolutely.
The ones that do go above and beyond, you just stand out a lot more, to me at least. Not that matters to anybody, but to me it does, you know what I'm saying?
It might.
You never know. Every now and then. Might start doing the Bobby Boucher Awards. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
That'll be dope. Bobby Boucher Award.
Now, I've been saying we'll do award show because everybody get mad when they win awards during that time of year. So I'm like, you know what? Look, don't stress. I got you.
I've never gotten nominated. I mean, honestly, I felt like it was I felt good to be nominated, but only I know the amount of work that I poured into those kids. And I didn't do it for a trophy. I didn't do it for a title. I literally did it because I wanted them to be successful.
Yeah.
So when I started out my first year in 2022 with 4 DECA kids, that number grew to 45 or 40 last year. Now this year is 45 because a lot of them graduated.
Yeah.
And each year I'm like, it's growing. And it's growing not because, it's growing because of me, I feel, because of what I'm doing with them. Like I'm taking them away from 15th Street. I want you to see that there's life beyond these 4 walls. Let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to the Hyatt. Let's go to Spelman, Morehouse. Let's go to these different college campuses so you can see, like, you can do whatever you want to do. So that's why I invited you to the classroom, because another thing that I say is they can't be what they can't see.
Right.
So you can't say you want to be a podcast if you've never seen one that look just like you. So
That's
let me
true,
bring
yeah.
somebody in that look like you, because it's what you said you wanted to do.
And I still want to do that. I know we talked about me coming up there and just setting up, which like I said, one day I want to come up there, set up and just talk to certain students and just have that little 5-minute, 10-minute one-on-one with everybody and kind of go from there. And then I'll edit it, they can view it, see it, share how they want to do it.
Yeah.
That just be important to me. I do it with sports a lot. I might go to a sporting event, I'll set up. Are we interviewing? Like just somebody talking to them about, hey, I observed this, tell me this. Like it give them a sense of, I can be like this person.
Oh,
you know?
After I get their commercials and I kind of go through them and see, like, pick out some of the best ones, maybe just doing that. Interviewing.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I'll do that.
That'll be dope. That'll be so cool. I love that. So you just tell me, I told you I'll do my lesson plan around your schedule. It don't matter.
That's a bet. Like I said, I'm down with it. And I went to Josie too, so I got a love for Josie myself. But
okay.
I like to impact students. I think those they're the future. So a lot of time when you work at the world we in now, think about, what these people that endured. They might have bad teachers, bad examples. So if we just keep moving further, we be fine. But I definitely appreciate you coming through, stopping
Thank you
through,
for
giving
inviting
time.
me.
Definitely, like I said, when I saw it and I saw all the work you were doing, even with the hurricane, we even get into that, but all the work you were doing, I thought it was amazing. Like not everybody is that thoughtful when it comes to the student body.
Yeah.
It's just home and that's it, But you have this other layer of you, or just a bunch of layers of you that like care about all these students.
I'm a Libra.
Hey man, we do it all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Great balance.
That's right.
So tell them. Oh, well, I guess it's not one of them things. You ain't got to tell me they can follow you, because you probably the less the better probably. But
yeah, only if you want to donate something to my classroom, definitely. I'm always open to donations. I'm about to do a ceremony for my students, my DECA kids, next Friday on November the 8th. Thank you for Ken Moreau from Food Time for agreeing to cater this event for me. Thank you, Sade Rickardson, for agreeing to create my sweets table for me. Thank you, Brittany Sadidi, for saying that you will help sponsor it. So if you want to help sponsor my kids, please help me. You can Cash App Shante Luckie, ChanteLuckie. So you can Cash App me. You can Apple Pay me. I don't mind giving up my phone number. Just don't call me with that dumbness. 706-284-8091. You can Cash App me. You can Zelle me.
What's dumbness though? Like what you mean? What's dumbness?
What?
Just so they know for sure. Like
I'm like, what's up, girl? I've been trying to holler. Don't hit me up with that. Like I'm married.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to help me and my kids, most definitely.
What if they text you and say you can't have friends? That's like a thing people doing now.
Huh?
Sometimes they be like, you can't have friends. Like you ever been together before? You ever pump gas?
Huh?
You ever pump gas before?
Yes, I have. Like if my husband's not in the car.
No, not recently. Just in life.
Yeah.
Like people like, hey, you got a man? You said, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you can't have friends?
Yeah, it's like the follow
So
question.
I put my number on Facebook for something, and then somebody texted me. I don't know who this person was, and it was like, you shouldn't be putting your number on Facebook. I've been dying to have your number. But I'm like, nigga, if you don't get the out my text message, I said, I would act the fool real quick. Like, come on now. Like Drake said, I'm giving you my number, but don't hit me on that dumb okay? Don't. Thank you. It's for the kids.
Oh man, this was dope. I like the conversation, and like I said, I know you podcast on the side with Mo and stuff too.
Yeah.
So definitely shout out to y'all. I texted her last week, tell her, all right now, she got, she be playing games. See what I'm talking about, Mo? She be playing games. Like she go for 6 months and then like, oh, let's come back. No, you can't.
I saw her on your story.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago. I be doing it on purpose. I'm gonna go find a clip of Mo so I can share it.
Okay, gotcha.
So she can get back out here and do what she gotta do. I'm trying to push everybody, But definitely appreciate you coming through, man. One Master Podcast. This is Miss Luckie. Definitely appreciate you coming through. Dope conversation, dope teacher. teacher of the year for me.
Thank
and
you.
we out, man.